Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This video will be about the Cassie and Diddy lawsuit. Are y'all ready? My first 5 initial impressions of this complaint. I read all 35 pages, y'all. All 35, okay? Number 1, salacious as hell. So salacious. Like, she named locations, she didn't really name that many people, honestly. I was expecting more name dropping, and she really only name dropped Kid Cudi, which was crazy to me. But she really was naming hotels, locations, places, everything you can think of, which gave me the impression that she had a little bit more proof that this happened. She even went so far as to say that one of the hotels where she was assaulted caught it on camera, and that Diddy paid $50,000 to have the footage handed over to him. Now, a few things as I continue this video. Number 1, I am not giving my personal opinion. I'm not gonna do it. I am an actual practicing attorney in the state of New York, and I am not into gossip, right? If y'all want the gossip, go on the Shade Room, go to Spiritual World, go to one of those pages, because it won't come from me. I'm literally giving y'all my initial legal impression. And even with that, I'm gonna put an asterisk there because I'm a very young attorney. I've only been practicing for a few years now. So I can probably, say how I feel, and some other lawyer will have an exact opposite opinion or belief. And the reality is, that's why it's great being an attorney. We are all entitled to our own legal opinion. This case file for me is just giving y'all my impressions, period. And again, first impression, extremely salacious. She was giving very detailed information about what she called FOs. I have to go back and look what FO is. I'll pin it in this part of the video. But basically, the FO was Diddy had her hire a male prostitute, and his preference of a man for her was a black man with a very large penis. And he wanted to watch her and this black guy or black prostitute have intercourse, and then he would masturbate to them having intercourse. Now, Cassie details this happening throughout, I would say, the majority of their 10-year relationship. And to me, if I'm being transparent, that was the biggest and honestly craziest part to read of the complaint. And again, for those of you who do not know, this is a civil suit, right? So of course, she can't bring a suit and have him go to jail. The state would have to pick up based on the civil suit or based on the information released in the complaint. But yes, she details various sexual assaults that she's encountered. And when I say it was salacious, we have all heard rumors about what Diddy may or may not be into, but that was probably the most shocking part of the complaint to me. I could not believe what I was reading. And again, not saying my personal opinion, not if I believe her, not if I believe him. I'm just giving y'all my initial impressions. And to follow up, to sort of, summarize my first impression, it was salacious. My second impression was that I noticed that they cited a lot of New York statutes. One in particular which stood out to me is the Adult Survivors Act. Now, in the state of New York, there is a Child Victims Act, which is related in some capacity to the Adult Survivors Act. So basically, this statute gives injured plaintiffs an opportunity to bring suit if they face some sort of sexual assault. Now, I am a New York practicing attorney, and I do sometimes dip and dab in school law, and those cases happen. They happen often. So to me, it was surprising to see what I would say one of the first, of which will be many, of Adult Survivors Act cases. I can imagine if this had gone to trial that it would have been really, really, really interesting to see how the courts would have ruled on a case involving the very new Adult Survivors Act in New York. So my second impression was shocked seeing Cassie cite the Adult Survivors Act in her complaint. My third impression was what I believe to be a very strategic maneuver of the complaint on part of Cassie's attorneys. It is no surprise to me that Cassie's attorneys cited New York and California statutes. Now, granted, they are saying that most of the events occurred in those jurisdictions, but to me, it was bigger than that, right? We all know that the most progressive states in the United States is New York and California, both sort of spearheading this women's rights movement, really backing the Me Too movement, and really making a lot of headway with legal developments involving women and the protection of women and women's rights. So to me, this was strategy. I am pretty sure there was other places they could have filed suit. So, example, in the complaint, Cassie's lawyer cites Diddy's companies that he owns, which are Delaware corporations. Maybe they could have filed suit in Delaware. I'm sure they could have in some capacity. Since Diddy's companies are Delaware companies, that's where they're domiciled, right? So it could have been filed in Delaware, and I'm sure Diddy would not have had any issue being held to court in Delaware. I do not think it was in any way like just, this is where it happened. I think that was important, right? Because otherwise there wouldn't be jurisdiction. But I believe that it was a strategy used by Cassie's counsel to sort of handpick California and New York because of the literal policy in New York and California to protect women and women's rights. So again, my third impression was, wow, California and New York? We know if this goes to suit in either of these jurisdictions, her likelihood of success is probably higher. My fourth impression was, oh my God, settling in 24 hours. I did not expect that. And I expected a quick settlement, but 24 hours was shocking, right? I knew that he was going to settle. It was no doubt in my mind that Diddy was going to allow this to go to trial. And honestly, my next and final point or impression is sort of related, but I think the hastiness in settling was tied to two different things. The first is my fourth impression, which is discovery would have probably been disgusting for him. Because again, back to my first impression, it was very salacious. Cassie name dropped locations of where a lot of the alleged sexual assault occurred. She even mentioned friends. Now, she didn't mention their name, but she mentioned friends on her end and Diddy's friends that would call them things of Ike and Tina, and Whitney and Bobby, insinuating that they had a very aggressive and very violent relationship. If this had gone to trial, or if they had to start subpoena and witnesses, this would have been really, really, really nasty during discovery. I think for both parties potentially. It's no surprise to me to settle quickly when we know discovery will be nasty. Any good legal counsel will have their clients settle if going to court does not look good, period. And if legal counsel, which I'm sure they prepped and had various conversations with Diddy, that was probably is it worth your reputation? Do you have any idea what may or may not come out in discovery? Discovery would have made or break Diddy's reputation. So again, my fourth impression was settling, wow, 24 hours is shocking, but I cannot imagine how terrible discovery would have been for honestly maybe both parties. My fifth and final impression is a second part to Diddy settling quickly. Now, you guys may not like this, and again, this is not my personal opinion, it is a fact. Settling does not equate to guilt. Now, we may have read that complaint and insinuated guilt or liability of some sort, but the reality is he has not had his day in court. In those settlement agreements, they specifically carve out language that says, I am not admitting to guilt in any capacity. I cannot imagine Diddy allowing any legal document to say, yeah, I did it, that's why I'm paying her. And again, good counsel would not have advised him to do that. I believe Diddy settling so quickly was strategy on his counsel's part, right? For multiple reasons. Number one, we need this to be old news. We don't want this to go to trial. And we don't want this being talked about longer than the week or month that social media keeps it relevant. And honestly, for the people that were asleep for those entire 24 hours, we don't want any more potential victims coming to the light, trying to get money or trying to sue him in some capacity or get a state that he's been in that to bring suit against him on criminal charges. We do not want this to last longer than necessary. Why? Diddy's a public figure. He's a billionaire. He does not need his reputation to be tarnished in any capacity if he wants to maintain the legacy he has built. Now, Cassie really, what she talks about ad nauseum in the complaint, he really built her up into this star. And when she left him and met her now husband, she has kept distance from him. She is not the same star as him. And I believe she probably considered what going to trial would look like for her and her new family, how this could damage her reputation if certain things came out that is not favorable. She has 2 children now, I believe 2, at least 1. And she would not want this to, in some capacity, impact her children's life. Now, again, I do believe that this was something that Diddy's lawyers orchestrated. Let's get it done out the way. This is not something we want to go to trial because we don't want discovery to sort of come back and bite us in the butt. But at the same time, we understand marketing. We understand that people only hear about things for as quick as a soundbite. This is gonna blow over. Assuming more victims do not come forward, this is gonna blow over. No one's gonna care in 3-6 months or even in the next year. No one's gonna remember, right? Now, what I wanna know, and this is something I've been thinking about since I read the complaint, is Cassie gonna now do a tell-all book? I cannot imagine that Diddy's lawyers allowed her to escape that in the confidentiality clause of the settlement agreement. If she comes out with some sort of tell-all book, y'all, I will be shocked, and I will have to make a part 2 to this video because I cannot imagine counsel would allow that. Now, I haven't seen a lot of cases about confidentiality clauses and settlement agreements and how it sort of stifles victims in some way. Those clauses are usually in perpetuity, meaning they last forever. So again, that is the one thing I've been thinking about. What is going to happen next? Will more victims come up? Will Cassie in the next 3 to 5 years or maybe decade from now try to make a tell-all book and say all the things that happened and expound on what she already revealed in the complaint? What's gonna happen next? I wanna know. And again, I did not want to give my personal opinion. I'm not telling y'all who I agree with, who I think is right. Honestly, I am just shocked. When the complaint dropped, I was like,
I know that ain't who I think it is. I know that.
See what's going on. And again, the 5 initial impressions, salacious, shocked to see the Adult Survivors Act, that New York statute. Really paid attention to the strategy that both counsels used and really considered like, yo, if this goes to trial, discovery is going to be interesting. We know things get leaked. We've seen that in the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez case. We even seen it in Johnny Depp v. Heard. People always leak stuff. So we would have seen some crazy stuff come out, I can imagine, on both ends in discovery. It was honestly in the best interest for both parties to settle. Now, 24 hours, I don't know, that might be a record, guys. What you think? And I wanted to use this last little minute of the video to give you guys some clarity. Now, if you watched my previous videos, then you know that I said, I hate when people make being a lawyer their personality. I do. But at the same time, I am in love with the law, the art of the law. And when cases like this happen, any person that loves the law will read that complaint. Anyone that's nosy is going to read the complaint. And there are going to be instances where I'm going to talk about what I'm going to now call Asia's case files, where I just talk about a case that I thought was interesting, or, you know, that I am really intrigued by. That's not going to be the theme of my channel unless that's what y'all want. I feel like I'm trying to avoid so much being a lawyer outside of work that I didn't even want to do this video, but I was asked to do so by some good friends of mine. So I said, you know what, I'll do it. I had already spoken about it with my best friends and my family, and I was already like, you know, talking about it with one of my friends at work because we both read the complaint together. And I was like, yo, I really want to do a video on this. Like, this is crazy. I am not an entertainment lawyer. That's why I did not even go into detail on the statutes that were cited. I am a New York barred attorney, but I didn't want to go into too much detail because y'all are not paying me. I don't want to give any unsolicited legal advice. I don't want anyone to take this video as legal advice. And nothing in this video is anyone's opinion but my own. I am not speaking on behalf of my firm. For anyone at my firm, I am speaking on my own legal impression. The opinions belong to me. And I was very, very intentional to not say who I believe, because the reality is this is life. Life happens, and I don't want to say something and be wrong. I was not there when the alleged assault occurred. I was not there for the 10 years of their relationship. And y'all, I am not into that type of gossip. I'll give y'all my legal impression, my initial impression, and that is it. But to end the video, I just wanted to let y'all know I will sometimes do legal takes in my case files on cases that I'm interested in. I cannot talk today. And I will in the future maybe touch on more legal things, because I know the people that know me personally, the people that I grew up around, or the people that follow me on social media have so many questions about my legal journey, what I think about certain things. So I know that I cannot escape it, but I do want the people following my channel to know that a lot of my content will not be legal based. Again, if this turns into a YouTube channel about legal stuff, then I might have to take this video down in the future. Or maybe I'll keep it up to laugh at myself or trying to avoid the inevitable. But I just wanted to let you guys know going forward, my videos will still include all the things I'm passionate about, the fun things I love in life. In December, it's gonna get real fun, the holiday spirit. You can already see my little tree that I put for my centerpiece, for my island in my kitchen. But there's gonna be a lot of fun holiday stuff coming for the month of December. And then starting out Q1 is going to be a lot of things that I can't wait to share with you guys. I've already planned all my content, but I just had to say that. And honestly, I am not even uploading this video right away. So by the time you guys see this, it's gonna probably be old news. I'm sorry. I had to give my initial 5 impressions, and again, it was requested. So thank you guys for watching. I am eager to read your comments. Please leave some below. Bye guys, much love to everyone.